Good morning, everyone. The first few things that I would like to ask is, I think we have completed all the units. And is there any doubt anywhere? Do you have any questions, any queries regarding the syllabus? No, great. Then we also did the SWOT analysis. We have taken different quizzes, unit test and all, right? So that's done. Now what I'm going to do today is I'm going to discuss with you the question paper of last year, right? As of now, this is a big question that we all have. It's like a mystery that we all have to solve. Before the Diwali break, what was communicated is we might have an offline exam from GTU, right? But now looking at the situation, the current scenario, we're still not sure. So what I'll do today is I'll try and discuss the offline paper that we had last year. Right? Last year we did not have such problems, so there was a paper, writing paper. I'm going to give you little tips and tricks that in case when the paper is offline. Now, what happens in case of language papers? Most of the time English. The problem is most of the time we struggle with time. Right? We feel that we have not been able to finish in time or the paper was quite lengthy. But what happens is basically what happens is we do not understand the question properly, and at times we write unnecessary things which occupies our time, right? So I'll be solving last year's question paper right away, and I'll also tell you the tips and tricks to work on it so that you don't miss out on time part. All right. In case we have an offline exam, you should be very well aware of how you have to work about things. Just give me a minute. I'll display the paper to you. I've already shared the paper in our Google Drive. You wish to open it in your own mobile phones, you can do so. Or I already have a copy over here, which I'm sharing with you. Right. I hope this is clear. And because this was a new subject introduced last year only, we have only one paper. But it would give us a very good idea about how things work. Now, first, let us look at the marking that we have. So in our paper, if we are going to follow this paper style, we'll have 3 mark, 4 mark, and 7 mark questions. Where question number 1 would be a compulsory question. You don't have a choice. And question number 2 onwards, you'll have something like this. Question 2, A, B, C, or C. Right? In question 2, you have, if you wish, you want to write the paper style, please write it. Question number 1, A, B, C, and the marking scheme is 3, 4, and 7. Right? Question 1 is a compulsory question. You need not write anything. Sorry, you did not have a choice for anything. Now, when you move on to question number 2, question 2 has a choice, but only in one option. Question 2 has a choice, but only in one option. That is the 7 mark question. So you have got A, B, C, question 2, A, B, C, or question 2, C. And then when you move on from question 3 onwards, you have options like question 3, A, B, and C, or question 3, A, B, and C. Right? That's question 3, 4, and 5. That's how you work on it. Now, please remember a few things, especially when you are looking at options. Clearly mention the option that you have opted for, like which question are you opting. It does not mean you write the whole question, but write a few first words or write the title very clearly. Now, if you read question 1A, define non-verbal communication and enlist various components of non-verbal communication. Now, what we need to do is you also don't only look at the question, but look at the marks as well. It is a 3 mark question. So for 3 marks, the question would be split as 1.5 marks for definition and 1.5 marks for enlisting the components. Now, why is this important? See, when we look at the question directly, we are like, oh my God, non-verbal components means it has kinesics, it has proxemics, it has paralinguistic features. what not, right? And we panic, like for 3 marks, how come they can ask this long question, right? You need not panic. They're not asking you a long question. They're asking you to define what is nonverbal communication. It's just a 3-4 line definition. Now, when it is a 3-mark question, only one definition is required. One. Two, they're not asking you to discuss any of the component. They're asking you to enlist. They're asking you to enlist. Right? Reading the proper context is also important. Reading the paper is also very important. They're asking you to enlist. So please don't just write kinesics, proxemics, paralinguistic. They'll not give you marks for it. So kinesics. So first component is kinesics. What do you have under kinesics? You have head movements. You have facial expression. Then you have got eye contact. Then you have got gestures. You have got postures. Then proxemics. What is proxemics? You have intimate zone, personal zone, social zone, public zone. Paralinguistic features, what do you have? You have quality, pace, volume, rate of speaking or pace of speaking, stress, pauses, pronunciation. That's it. I hope I am sounding clear on this. They're asking you to write one definition and they're asking you to enlist the components. Please enlist the components the way I have told. Why? Because it makes it easier for you to remember, and it also makes it easier for the person to give marks. It's all about more about clarity over here. Now, if you take question 1B, it is of 4 marks. Right? Explain the term kinesics and its components. Now, see, they've already given you the components in order. Facial expression, gestures, posture, eye contact, touching. Touching is nothing but proxemics, space. All right. Touching would also mean how you hold somebody's hand, how you pat somebody's shoulder. All right. It's nothing new. Here also, you need not give 4 or 5 examples for each component. Here, give basically 1 or 2 examples. Now, if you take, there are 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5 topics already given for 4 marks. So if you club 2 topics, it will give you 1 mark. That's how the scheme of marking is, right? So facial expression, so you can say the face is the mirror of a person's soul. If we take up different examples like, let's say classical dancing, facial expression, it's all dependent on how you have a facial expression, right? You can give 1 example over here. Then gestures, postures, 1 example each, right? Next, if you look at question 1C, define the term communication and explain the process of communication with the help of a diagram. It's a 7-mark question. Here, what you need to do is you first need to define the term as they have told you, then draw a diagram, then explain each component. If you look at the PPT which I have given, I've given you 1 short summary as well. If the same question is asked, explain the process of communication in 3 marks, see, it will not be asked in 3 marks. You have to also judge the question or the topic as well. See, that question can never be asked in 3 marks. But in case, let's look at the worst case scenarios. In case this question is asked in 3 marks, then you have to just write a summary that the sender, who is the generator of the idea, encodes a message, be it oral or written, sends it via a channel. There is a receiver who decodes the message, understands the message and gives a response, which is known as feedback. Where the entire process of communication takes place is also known as the communication environment. And any kind of interference or disturbance in the process of communication, which can distort the message or which can create a misunderstanding, is known as noise. That's your answer for 3 marks. In case the same question is asked in 3 marks. Please do not, we know you are very knowledgeable, you have got quite a thorough study of it, but try to be doing smart work. Look at the marks section as well, where to write what much. Right? Even the teacher knows that for 3 marks, you cannot be asking a diagram and an entire explanation of the process. Right? So try to think from that perspective as well. Now it is a 7-mark question, so you have to first give a title like definition. So here you can write a little introduction that etymologically, or the origin of the word is from Latin word communicare, which means to share, or communis, which means to share. And then you can move on one of the definitions here. Because it is a 7 mark question, you should write at least 2 definitions, right? Then you draw a diagram. Have a habit of having giving titles. When you give titles, it is easier for the teacher to visualize, right? And it is easier for you to also display your answers properly. Even that presentation, remember, presentation part is also important, right? After the diagram, then you give a title called the process of communication, and then you write first component is the sender, then you have encoding, channel, decoding, receiver, feedback, communication environment, and then at the last you have noise, right? 7 components are there, right? So do it stepwise so that it is easier. And because I know when we write a physical exam, we are not supposed to mark anything on the question paper. So kindly try to skim the paper. There's a technique called skimming and scanning. When you read, try to, in your mind, try to highlight the words which are important. Let's say we have a definition, we have something to enlist. If you take question 1A, then you have an explanation, and then the components are given that you have to explain. Right? Try to use the question as much as possible. I hope question 1 is clear. A, B, and C. How do you write the answer? Right. Fine. So that's clear. Let's move on to the next one. So then we have got question 2. Explain the significance of intercultural and interpersonal communication in professional life. Now, what is significance? Significance means importance. Why is it important to have intercultural communication, interpersonal communication in personal professional life? So here you are just supposed to highlight, let's say, importance of intercultural or significance of intercultural communication. That's one title, and you write 4 points, or let's say 3 points. And then interpersonal communication in professional life, significance of interpersonal communication, and then you highlight 3 points. It's for 3 marks. Remember, even if we write the best of best answers, the maximum that you can get is 2.5, right? If you leave one question, let's say you are unable to attempt because of a time crunch, one of the question, you entirely lose the question. Here you would lose just 0.5 or 1 mark at the most. Right? So try to balance it or time it in that way. Now, usually, when we have questions of technical description, these are the practical questions. Most of the time, they would never give you a specific mechanism or a specific tool. Now, they'll not say that you describe a 3D printer, or you describe the working of a software. Right? They don't do that. Why? Please understand. Okay? It's very simple. We do not have different papers for the subject etc for different branches of engineering. We have a common paper. So every time when they ask a question of technical description, it would be a common question. Let's say a mechanical engineer can write about a 3D printer. You can write about a computer. You can write about some software you have developed. Let's say a civil engineering guy could write about any other mechanism from their branch. Right. So please keep in mind, whenever they're going to ask you a question for technical description, they will. Okay, this question would come. Unit number 2 and unit number 3. Please remember, I've been repeating as well. Unit number 2 and 3 make up the highest weightage. They make up the highest weightage in the question paper. If you look at the syllabus, the weightage is given. Unit 1, this much percent. Unit 2, this much percent. I think unit 2 and 3 together make up more than 50%. So these are the units that we can focus on more. Right? I'm not saying that you don't focus on the other ones, but these are the ones which are going to give you more marks. So you can expect many questions from unit 2 and 3. Many from unit 2. Why? Because it is actually a practical application of whatever theory you are learning. Right? Writing letters, writing descriptions. So whatever English you know, that is what is going to be reflected over here, the application part. So please note it wherever you are noting. For technical description questions, they might never ask you a specific question. Right? That's how you have to think. They never ask you a specific question for technical description. Why? Because there is a varied number of students from various different branches who are going to appear for the same paper. So here, see, they have given three options. You can write about any tool, you can write about any mechanism, or you can write about a piece of equipment. Now, how can they change the question? They can remove the options of mechanism or piece of equipment. They can remove the option of tool and mechanism. So they'll be specific. So describe any device, describe any tool, describe any mechanism, describe any piece of equipment. Now, see, when they ask you for a tool, equipment, or a device, it means they're asking for a product. When they're asking you about a mechanism, it means they're asking about a process. I think few of our friends have joined some other link. If you are in contact with them and you can see who are not there and share this link so they can join us. If somebody can do that. In the meanwhile, I'll still be explaining the same. All right. So please note when they ask about a tool, a piece of equipment, or a device, it means they're asking for a product. And this is where you make a mistake. Now, when they have given three, you can write any one. But when they ask specifically a tool, an equipment, or a device, it means they're asking for a product. Right? So let's say they're asking for a tool, a piece of equipment, or a device. It means that you can write just give me a minute. We need to share the link with other classmates. I suppose they're in some wrong link. So just give me a minute. All right, just a minute. I apologize for the inconvenience. So, as I said about this technical description, as a suggestion, I would suggest that you should have at least two answers ready for it. One of a device, one of a process. Let's one of a product, one of a process. Why so? Right? As a part of preparation for exam, you should always write down one of a product and one of a process. Why? Because when you sit in the exam and you have to think each and every step, because of the time crunch, you might forget a few things in the technical description. All right. But if you have written it once, okay, you fix it. This is the tip and trick. Okay, a teacher, I don't think others would give you, but that's what I'll tell you. The trick over here is, if they ask this question, let's say they give me an option: tool, device, equipment, anyone, you write. Then also I'll write the description of a laptop. And if they ask me that you write a description of the product, then also I'll write of the laptop. Let's fix it. Let's fix it. Right? When you fix it, you are very clear in the mind that when they ask me the technical description of a product, I'm going to talk about a laptop. Now, when I'm going to talk about the laptop, these are the parts in the laptop: 1, 2, 3, 4. I'm not saying that you write that this is a screen, it is a touch screen, no, not something like that. But you have a bulleted point in mind that when I'm going to talk about a laptop, first I'm going to talk what is a laptop, then I'm going to talk about the various parts of the laptop. Then I'll have to write a small paragraph about the process, advantages, and the other equipments that come along with the laptop. Let's say you have in accessories, you would have a charging cable, or maybe there at some time of point when you bought the laptop, you might have a scheme and you might have got good headphones. That's the other accessory part. But the steps are clear: 1, 2, 3, 4 laptop. You are very clear about it. So when you see the question, there is no confusion. Should I write about a mobile phone? Should I write about a laptop? Should I write about something else? What should I do? Sometimes we take a lot of time in making the choice. The technique to save time. Okay, I'm not saying that it does not mean that you will have a lot of time, but at least you will cut on the time which you spend in thinking which product you want to describe. Right? That's the technique over here to score good. You have it very fixed, because in technical description, if you ask me, I'll tell you they will never ask a specific product. In case, now see, somebody is like, madam, are you going to set the paper? What if they ask? Now, in case they ask, there are various cases that you see. In case they ask that we want to ask a specific question, they will not go beyond a mobile phone or a laptop, or something which is common, for all the branches. So what is common? A laptop and a mobile phone, if it is a product. Process. Which kind of processes are common? I don't think any branch would have similar kind of all processes. Maybe a subject or two, right? So that also, if you tell me to be a fortune teller, looking into a globe of my own, my silver crystal ball, usually they don't even ask processes. Why? The reason being, how is the teacher supposed to mark you whether the process that you have written is correct or not? Most of the times, teachers who are going to check this paper are going to be experts in English and not in engineering. And that's how you dissect the paper. I hope the information that I'm providing would be helpful in the exam as well. Right? Most of the times it happens in such a way, this kind of questions are common. Right? So please keep in mind that what you should do so that you can save time is, you should have a product in mind, that in the exam, if they ask a question of technical description, this is what I'm going to write. All right? Have a product in mind, have a process in mind. It will make things easier and save on the time part. Now, the next question is about proposal writing. Next question is, if you look at the question, it's a proposal. Now look at the things that is required. See, now what happens is, here again, if you look at the option which is given to you against the proposal writing option, it is the resume. Now be smart enough. Don't feel that proposal is comparatively, when you compare the two questions, the proposal is a little tougher than the resume. I'll write a tough question. See, here you need to be correct, not tough. Right? Smartness is you look at the correct question. So out of the two given options, my suggestion would be you should go with the resume writing question. In case you go with the proposal writing also, it is not a problem. Now what we need to do over here is when we write the proposal, you need to remember many things. All right. Resume would be easier to write. Why? Because you have practically done it as a part of an assignment. Secondly, a resume does not have a fixed structure. There are many kinds of structures available. The information that you put is fixed, but where you put the information is not fixed. Right? Certain companies, if you look at certain templates, they are different. Other templates are different, but the information input is correct, same. Whereas if you look at the proposal has a fixed structure. You cannot change the chronology in case of the proposal. All right. So that's why there are a few reasons for selecting the resume and not the proposal. Now let's say you take the proposal. Remember, there is a title page. So how does a title page look if you type it? You have to have a rectangular box, and within that box you write. Right? Little drawing skills come into existence when you write this proposal. Right? You have a title page. Remember, here again you are paying fees and you can get any number of supplementaries you want to. So don't try and save the paper and save the environment. Here, proposal means page 1 is the title page. Then you have to flip the page. Even if you have got a lot of space on your page, you have to flip it. Right? You have to go on to the next page, then the next page, as and when it is mentioned. Right? Now, look at it. They're going to ask you to set a computer lab. Now, why such a question? Here, what kind of questions can be asked when you have to draft a proposal? 1, they can ask you to set a computer lab. 2, they can ask you to set up a kiosk or a canteen facility. As a student, require it. 3, they want you to ask to set up a new type of a library. A proposal for setting up a digital library, let's say a digital one, the way we have. You can return the book on your own. You have got self-returning kiosks, a digital library. Next, it can also ask you to set up a language lab. And these are the 4 most commonly asked questions for proposal. Computer lab, canteen or a kiosk, small place where you can have food. It's not in canteen, you just order it and it's kind of a buffet, kind of a canteen space, right? A canteen space means you have to also set up tables and chairs for sitting. In a kiosk, you do not require tables and chairs for sitting. It's just like a pickup service that you have, right? Then the digital library or a common library and a language lab, right? I hope you are noting it down. It would be useful in the exam time. Now, if you take up any of these labs in the proposal, what are the requirements that you will have? 1, you will require space. 2, you will require a setup, a particular kind of a setup. Let's say if it's a computer lab, you'll require tables and chairs, plugins, like switchboards and all, right? Somebody, a podium or something for the instructor. Let's say you also require a projector over here, right? I hope you are understanding what are the components in a computer lab. What you can do is you can always shut your eyes and imagine your own computer lab. What are the equipments that are there? Please do not forget the place or space for the instructor, right? The teacher. Then you will require LAN cables or let's say internet facility, right? So in a proposal, it means this is all what will be required and this is all what you will be providing, right? If it's a computer lab, you will require specific softwares as well, right? So that do not mention. These are the small details. Remember, these are the details that they will require. Let's say you want a canteen. You'll need a cooking area. You'll need a space where you'll cook. You need a place to serve the food, a place where somebody will order the food, a place to sit down. Sitting down means tables and chairs. Let's say some packet food also you will require in the canteen. If you take up library, what you will require? You require how people move in and out. So, how do you keep check on who moved in and who moved out? Tables and chairs for sitting, some shelves, books. Let's say it's a digital library, you require Kindle, or you require a laptop or a computer or a screen, you require self returning kiosks, something. Huh? These are a few things. Please keep in mind when they ask for a proposal, these are the things they are looking for. Let's say you require a language lab. Language lab means what? Not just an English teacher and a few books. Right? What is a language lab? Language labs are, we have one in our college as well. We have got two, in fact. You require computer, you require language related software. So invent a name. All right. Teachers are not asking you to write the correct names. Invent a name. Let's say for learning computer, you require, for learning English, you require some English related software in your computer. So let's say there's one of the softwares which we have is called Duolingo, right? Learn English fast, everyday English. There are many. Invent it. All right, invent it. It looks uh, creative. Remember, we are supposed to not only have the theory of creative and critical thinking, but you have to display it in your paper. You know, when you say language learning software, and if I write learn English or easy English learning, it makes a difference. And then you write a dash and you write it's a software. It makes a real difference when you just write an English learning software and you write everyday English learning software, right? So I hope things are coming clear to you how we require you to write the proposal. Now see, now how do they ask the question of a resume? This is one of the ways of writing it, and they have also mentioned that you have to write a cover letter. So remember, here the trick is at the end, they've written draft a resume along with a cover letter. Now remember, a resume is not a resume is not accompanied by a cover letter. A cover letter is accompanied by a resume. So what are you supposed to write first? Are you supposed to first write the resume and then the cover letter, or the other way around? What do you think? What do you think? Which component should you write first? The resume or the cover letter? Which one? The score is 2:1. Okay. We've got two people who say we are writing the cover letter. One person who says we are writing the CV. Okay. Now the number of people is increasing. People who are writing cover letter, you are absolutely correct. This is how they play the trick on your mind. All right. This is how they play the trick on your mind. See, by CV, if you mean cover letter, you are meaning resume, right? See, remember, as I said, it's all a trick of words. Here, this is how they're going to confuse you. Always remember, whenever you are writing the resume, note it down if you can, if you forget things, right? You don't have much time. Any time in December, they want to take the exams now, right? Whenever they ask you a question on resume, the first thing that you write is the cover letter. Remember, I have told you, not any other letters might have enclosure, might not have enclosure, but a cover letter will 100%. Every time you write a cover letter, at the end it will end with an enclosure. Why? Because your cover letter will be accompanied by your resume. Resume means it is not a part of the cover letter, but it is an extra document that you are keeping along with it. All right. So at that moment, what happens is an enclosure, which is a supplementary part of any letter, becomes a compulsory part of the cover letter. An enclosure, which is a supplementary part of any other letter, becomes a compulsory part for a cover letter. After you write the enclosure, you have to start writing your resume. So when questions on resumes are asked, first you have to write the cover letter, then you have to move on to your resume. Now here also, please remember, I know letters should be written when you type it out. When you type it out, it becomes just one A4 size paper. But when we write it, at times, because we want to showcase some space in between the addresses, in between the date and the complements, right? So it can tend to become 1.5 page. So my advice is, do not try and save paper here again. Resume should start from the next page. Even if there is just 2 lines of the cover letter on on one page and you have an entire page empty, leave it empty. Write the resume on the other page only. Why? Originally, why? Because you have to understand the structure as well. They're going to check how well you have understood and how well you apply. So in real life, in real time, when you write a cover letter, do you write like when you type the cover letter? Now you don't write it, okay? You type the cover letter. Do you write your or have your resume in the half page which is left? No. You start from the next page. The same thing you have to apply in the exam as well. Same thing you have to apply in the exam as well. The way you do it in real time is what you are supposed to display in your question paper as well. I hope I'm making myself clear. Right? See, these are the small tricks that you have to keep in mind. This is what we miss, and that is why we miss a few marks. Right? Now, some of us would always have this complaint that, Madam, I knew everything, I wrote everything, then also I've got less marks. But it is about presentation as well. All right? You're not only writing for yourself, you're writing for an audience. Who's the audience? The one who's going to check the paper. All right? So please apply the theories that we have been taught, that we have been teaching and learning in our subjects. That presentation is of utmost importance. It not only helps you remember things better, it also helps you gain marks. Now we have this very saying, "Dikhta hai, jo dikhta hai, wo bikta hai" type. Right? I'm not saying that they'll not read it, but presentation, if somebody is giving you out of 7, if somebody is thinking of giving you 5.5, that presentation can make a half mark difference, or even sometimes 1 mark difference as well. So if there are 5-6 questions, 1 mark difference in each questions will gain you 5 or 6 marks more, and that is what will make a distinction in your grades of B and C to A. Right? I'm just giving examples B, C, and A. I'm not sure which grade is what. Right? Let's say your percentages, like by 5 or 6 mark, if you have a difference in the percentage, would also increase. Overall performance increases. All right. So that's why whenever you write a resume, cover letter on one page, let's say 1.5 page, resume starting from new page. You should not continue in the same page. Now, if you look at the question over here, how can they twist this question? Please mark it. You are not a third semester student. They have told you you are a final year student of engineering, which means you are either in semester 7 or semester 8. Why am I mentioning this, that it is semester 7 and 8 in your resume? Then you have to write in your educational qualification semester 6, semester 5, semester 4, semester 3, semester 2, and semester 1 results. You cannot write a consolidated result that engineering with this much, because you are a final year student. Please mark the words. It's a play of words. Here they can also write, instead of a final year student, you are a recent graduate. You have recently completed your engineering, which means you can write a consolidated result. First year, second year, third year, fourth year. Or maybe in resume we are writing always reverse chronology. Right? So fourth year, third year, second year, first year. But when they are giving a final year student of engineering, you may either select to be in semester 7 or semester 8. That is your choice. Right? Which means if you select semester 8, that you have to write 8th semester pursuing, 7th semester pursuing, 6th semester result, 5th semester result. Right? In a tabular box, the way you make up a table when you type the resume, the same thing needs to be followed over here. Now, what have you come across? You have come across an advertisement for the post of an executive engineer. So what is the post? The post is executive engineer. Now, here again, they cannot ask you to draft a resume for a specific post. They will give you more generalized post. They will not say a software engineer, because a civil engineer can never apply for it. Then how will he write the question? Right? So executive engineer, junior engineer, senior engineer. I hope I'm making sense, right? So they'll never ask you a computer engineer or a civil engineer. They'll give you more generalized forms of engineering, like an executive engineer, a senior engineer, let's say a junior engineer. Right? These are some of the posts that you have. They have never told you where the post is. It's an advertisement. So it could be on internet. It could be on a newspaper. What I suggest is you should take up the newspaper part. Why? It's very easy to write in the cover letter that in the Times of India, dated 24th November 2020, I came across the advertisement. On social media, it's very hard to do so. So usually you should take up a newspaper reference over here. I hope I'm clear on this much, till this much at least. Right, I'll give you a minute or two to think about this 3-4 questions that we have dealt with. If you have still any queries, then we'll move forward for the next ones. All right, just 2-3 minutes to think over it. Any queries till now? I hope this is throwing a little clarity on how questions can be asked. Thank you, Briz, for asking. Yes, you need to write the cover letters, resumes in the format. You can pick up any one format of your choice. Try to pick up a simpler format. What happens in the CV or the resume writing part, it is not necessary that everybody's resume has the same format. You can use any template that you have seen digitally. That same template you are supposed to follow. Any other queries? I hope things are becoming a little clearer on part of how you write the exam. Okay, though we are still not clear whether we are writing it or we are going to appear for it on the computer. That's the irony over here. All right. So what we'll do is, if we look at time, we don't have much time right now. So let's keep it till here so that I don't forget things. So question 3 onwards, we'll discuss tomorrow. The question paper has already been shared with you in your Google Drive, all right? So if you wish, you can move ahead with it. You can have a look at it. All right. I don't mind if you can find some information and you have an idea about how you want to work on things, or you have some query till question 2 as of now. And even if you have queries in the further questions, you may always note it down. Let me first explain and you can ask me a question anytime. Right? A few instructions. Some of you have yet not submitted the things that you need to submit. I'm talking about the regular students, not the diploma to degree students. Okay? So this instructions right now is for the students whom we have been in contact digitally through this platform of Google Meet since 21st June 2020. You know, it's like sounding like I've established a shop since 1994, Aapki Seva mein. So these students who have been with me since 21st June 2020, some of you are yet to submit the assignments such as resume, cover letter, book review. Even few of you are still pending to submit the Coursera certificate. Kindly do so before the Viva dates are announced. We have a component of Viva still pending, right? So if you are not doing the same, excuse me, if you are not doing the same by the date of the Viva, I'll not be allowing you to take the Viva. I'm not mentioning anybody's specific name. Right? I'm not mentioning anyone's specific name. Uh, Most of us know how much you have done, right? I don't need to tell who has done what and what is pending. Please understand on your own and try to submit things at the earliest. Most probably in the first week of December, we would have our Viva. So don't wait till the first week of December. Kindly submit it in this week only so that your marks can be uploaded. The portal for online marking is already open. I need to upload your marks. So if you don't want me to put a zero over there, if you don't want me to put a zero over there, kindly do the work. Complete things. Yes, Fanny. You raised the hand. See, those who have completed need not do it over and over, okay? You have already done it. Be very sure about it. Your work is done. In case I find somebody, I'll always message it. And I'm still giving you a time of a day or two. Otherwise, by Thursday or Friday, I'll circulate either in Google Form or in the Google Drive or as an email. Whatever is convenient to you, kindly do it. If you have done any one of the three, you not do all the three. Okay. And please be very specific about completing it within a day or two. Otherwise, then I'll have to give a specific list. Enrollment number this, name this, has not submitted this much. All right. I don't want to do that. So kindly consider it as an utmost urgent work and complete it. All right. I'll take the attendance now. Dates of the Viva are yet not decided. Uh, as of now, like before we had the Diwali break, uh, tentative exam date by GTU was given was in the second week of December, that is 15th December onwards. All right. Now, if you take the current scenario, GTU has closed down and they're still unsure about the exams. Most of the universities, if you are reading the newspapers, you should. If you're not, and if you're reading the newspapers, you can see in the newspapers, most universities have yet, as of now, most of the universities have put their exams on hold, the offline exams which they were going to conduct, right? We don't have any intimation from the university as of now. As and when I get the intimation about it, I'll personally message in the group, right? So you don't worry about when the dates of the Viva are. They would be in synchronization with the university examination dates. And well in advance, you will be informed. Even if you are not informed well in advance, you are in advanced class, okay? Don't worry about it. I know you very well by now. At least digitally, I know you. Right? So I'll take the attendance of the day. Even if you still have queries, please have a habit of jotting it down so that you don't forget what you wanted to ask in the next lecture. Right? So tomorrow when we have the session, I'll be continuing from question 3 onwards, the way I did today. Please keep jotting down points so that when you refer, even if you refer to the points, it will make things easier when you prepare for the exam. Right? So I'll just take the attendance. Attendance, enrollment number 2, 5, 8, 9, 10, 12, 16, 17, 19, 24, 25, 26, 29, 31, 34, 35, 38, 44, 46, 47, 49, 50, 51, 53, 54, 56, 58, 65, 67, 68, 69, 72, 73, 82, 85, 89, 91, 96, 100, 101, 102, 3, 100 is present. 6, 8, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 25, 125, 126, 131, 134, and 144. We'll call out the absent numbers once. Yeah, in case I have not marked you present, you may tell me at the moment. So enrollment number 9, absent numbers 9, 10, 24, D2D students, please wait. I'll be taking your presence afterwards. Just a minute. So 49, 102, 121, 125, 126, 131. These are the absent numbers in the regular class. Now, D2D students, kindly write. This is the students from EC2 class or all the classes? Alright, students of D2D may type your enrollment numbers and I'll write your attendance. Thank you, class. When we meet tomorrow, you may look at the question paper and you may also come with queries if you have any. Thank you, class. Have a nice day. We call it a day over here. Thank you.